Good morning. It's Thursday. And have a look at this new carpet. Isn't this something? It's not finished yet, but you can see the gentlemen are making very good progress here in the church. Things should look great for you on Sunday when we are all here together. Well, not all of us, but 15% of us anyways. So we look forward to seeing that. Thank you to the guys for helping us out with that. This morning we're talking a little bit in our devotional about love. Cheryl brings us another thought of the day for us. She writes about a story from 2009 about Tim Tebow, the football player, and how after his college championship game, he had felt led to write John 3:16 in the black that they put under their eyes to keep the sun's glare out. I don't know if you remember this, more than 10 years ago. Do you remember that? The football player, John 3:16 in white, he had over the black under his eyes. And that really created a media sensation. And they said that verse, which of course says something about, God's love, if you remember the verse, it was Googled more than 94 million times. Wow. All because of that episode from Tim Tebow having it on his face. Now, Cheryl says we might not have that kind of influence or reach, but we do have influence in our own circles, don't we? A couple of weeks ago, Cheryl remembers that Luke and the rest of our praise team sang that wonderful song, "They Will Know We Are Christians by Our Love." It was great to hear that song again. This song was written during the turbulent 1960s, a time in which the United States struggled with a number of major issues, including the Vietnam War, race relations, and many other complicated things, of course. But really, even though the world was going through some tough times then, it's still the same thing these days, isn't it? The world still needs just as much love now as it did back then. Perhaps more so if you consider how few people know Christ percentage-wise in North America, maybe than perhaps was the case 50 years ago. Nevertheless, we know the Bible talks a lot about love. We're probably familiar with 1 Corinthians 13, dubbed the love chapter, often read at weddings. We know that 1 Corinthians 16:14 tells us to do everything in love. Ephesians 5:2 tells us to walk in the way of love. John 15:12 commands us to love one another as Jesus loved us. And verse 13 of that same chapter says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay one's life down for one's friends." So think about this today and these various commands about the love of God. Maybe you can't reach 94 billion people or whatever that statistic was. Probably wasn't 94 billion. We might not have 100 people in our sphere of influence. However, we have some, don't we? Even if we live alone, even if we rarely go out anymore, we all have some sort of circle. We have those outside, we have our neighbors, we maybe still have family. And even if we don't, we have that opportunity to open ourselves up to God and say, "Here I am, Lord, your servant. Use me as you will." And won't you know, and don't we believe, that when we give ourselves to God and open ourselves as willing to be his servants, will he not use us? How can we share God's love then in those opportunities? Cheryl gives us a few practical suggestions. Be generous. Be a good listener. Show kindness. Smile. Pray for others. Pray with them. Pray for them. Let them know that you're talking to God on their behalf. Love your enemies, even those that are difficult to love. There are many ways to show God's love to others. Pray that God will bring someone into your life today that could use a blessing, that could use the love of God. Thank you, Cheryl, for that message. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I can't wait to see you so that you can see what the loving work of our guys here have done for our church. Again, have a great rest of the day and week. God bless.